Good afternoon, and welcome to the Lummy Sports Show. I'm the co-host, Brian the Babyface Matroni, joined by the Filthy Gingerette, and as always, our incomparable, the most over host in the history of any show, Lummy Lummox Garrison.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you for being able to get here early.
Yes, absolutely.
You too.
I mean, I've just been torn up since the news this morning.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the Lummy Sports Show.
Baby and Hootie are going away, huh?
813-90, no.
I heard the goat's retired.
90-BUBBA, 813-90-BUBBA. We could probably get another goat in here. Yes, Brian. Brian, during his lawyerism, he pulled in this morning, right before the show, and he goes, "Oh, Lummy, I'll be right back. I forgot. I did a whole complete breakdown on the salary cap for the Buccaneers." So I'm guessing you did that once Tom Brady retired.
Yes, in preparation for the show, I got into the office a little bit early this morning and had about 20 minutes to do this breakdown now that Brady is retired,
So,
which is the second best thing that could have happened to the Bucs.
Well, hold on. Let's just make sure everyone knows that there is breaking news, because I have been getting text messages like 2.5 hours after it was announced that Tom Brady did retire. So if you don't know, Tom Brady is no longer a Buccaneer. He has retired.
I'm getting choked up.
I'm choked up.
He knows he can't resell his tickets next year if he misses any games.
You are correct. And hopefully they lower the price on it too, Brian. I was just talking to my wife about that one. Since they tore down the crow's nest.
Yeah, that crow's nest was crow's nest.
Yeah, the crow's nest, the crow's nest, the stupid nest that needs to get torn down, taken out.
The thing was a liability. It needed to go.
Yeah, man. I saw the Kansas City game from there. You could get those tickets dirt cheap, lower level seats, nice elevation, good view perspective of the field. I paid for the Kansas City game. I got them for under $100.
And compared to what used to be there, when you stand underneath and you look up at the scaffolding, holding it all together, it feels like you get what you pay for in a sense. High risk, high reward.
Yeah, there was nobody got hurt. So
no one did. And didn't you get a waitress service there?
No.
Oh, I thought they brought...
No, they had vendors that would come up and bring stuff up, but that was about it.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
But, if you didn't know, Tom Brady retired. So, luckily, and I told this one person that I was actually pretty happy that Tom Brady did it today. And he didn't drag out pretty much what Aaron Rodgers is doing with the Packers. And obviously, maybe it's Aaron Rodgers, maybe it's the Packers. But, dragging it out, we don't know. Now, at least now, as a Buccaneer fan and a Buccaneer organization, we can move on and start planning the future without Tom Brady. And as Brian said,
I've got it done.
The future is
done. The future, and good news. I've got just a few holes for us to fill, and the Bucs have $29.25 million in cap space if they do what I have in front of me.
So this isn't just a cap breakdown. This is your entire battle plan for the offseason?
Well, no, it doesn't include all of the free agent moves that they could make. But here's the thing: the Bucs have a lot of free agents. The Bucs don't have a lot of free agents worth a damn. When you really get down to it, there's maybe 10 guys that you would even want to have back on the team.
Yeah.
So it's not a dire situation for the Bucs. They can make some other moves and restructure some guys like Shaq Barrett and a few others that I have not included in here.
Oh.
But this is a breakdown that gets the Buccaneers with just 8 moves. Sorry, 10 moves. With 10 moves, it gets the Bucs from $55 million over the cap to $29.25 million under the cap.
Now, Red, have you ever seen the Seinfeld episode with George Costanza and the GM part where he was going to become the assistant GM
of the Yankees?
Yeah.
And he was like trying to get himself fired?
Yes.
Yes.
And then he had that car accident part or whatever, and then he wandered in and said, like, "Mr. Steinbrenner, I found a way that we could, trade Jay Buhner or get Jay Buhner and save $10 million.
Yes.
That's what I feel like with Brian right now. He's the George Costanza.
Well,
he could go to $1 place and say, "Guys, Mr. Glazier, I have a way that I could get you guys $28 million under the cap."
Well, would you like to hear it?
I would love to hear it.
Okay, so currently, as things stand at this moment, the Bucs are at $283 million, which is roughly $55 million over the projected salary cap. Their adjusted cap, because they have cap rollover from this year from injured players and whatnot. So they've got $55 million in cap space that they have to clear up. Now, with Brady retiring, that's the next best thing that could have happened for them. The worst case scenario was him signing with another team. The best case scenario was him signing with the Bucs and restructuring his deal to kick the can down the road further. The second best scenario was Brady retiring because they can adjust his salary, his contract. Brady will be willing to do it so that they only have an $11 million dead cap number towards this year with a $24 million dead cap number towards 2024. So that right out of the gate saves them $24 million off the cap, bringing them down to $31 million over. Now, the next four moves, the first one is a no-brainer, and then the next three they're all actually no-brainers. The first one's huge, though. By cutting Donovan Smith, you save $10 million.
Oh, yes. Goodbye, Donovan.
He has an $18 million cap hit this year, but only $8 million in dead cap money if you cut him. Additionally, by cutting Leonard Fournette, you save $3.5 million. By cutting Ryan Suckup, you save $3.75 million. And by cutting Cameron Brate, you save $2 million. With those moves, along with the Brady restructure, the Bucs go down to $11.75 million over the cap. The next round of moves.
Hold on, wait. Can I ask Rhett, do you have any problems with those cuts? Obviously not Donovan Smith.
No.
So you're cool with cutting Fournette, cutting Suckup?
Yes.
Suckup, the guy who can't hit
Suckup,
kick a field goal over 50 yards? I mean,
yeah, Suckup the writings on the wall. Like, he can be consistent in Tampa, but the coaches they want somebody with range.
You
know
got
what
to
I mean?
have
When
range
you have
in
an
today's
offense
NFL.
that isn't going to get you in the red zone as consistently anymore. You saw where it ended up this year. Leonard Fournette, you save a little bit of money on that deal. It was rich for a running back to begin with, and he's just not fucking worth what they've been paying.
It was a dumb deal.
Yeah, it was a
dumb
terrible
deal. It
deal.
was a Brady.
It was a
that was a Brady influence deal.
It was to make Brady happy.
It was to make Brady happy, and so he took under market to be with us. I'm not going to hate on the guy, and he brings people around, but that is what it is. So
right.
now,
and Donovan
like
Smith.
your-
nobody's going to sit here and complain.
No,
about
I like
that.
your first move, Brian.
well,
Okay.
I've got Donovan Smith's replacement lined up already.
I
as
like
well.
that.
So if the Bucs have two ways of going with that, either draft it but the guy who I would target, this
Is it
should
me?
be their number one.
Me?
Well, we'll get to it. So then, next round of moves: extend Mike Evans for 1 year at $20 million. That'll free up $9 million with the way they can rework his contract for this year, and then extend Nate Godwin for 1 year.
Hold on. Mike Evans, you said just 1 year, right?
Chris Godwin. I said Nate Godwin.
He's already under contract.
Yes, he's already under contract. You extend him 1 year, but doing that allows you to rework his cap hit for this year so that you save $9 million. Okay?
And then Mike Evans, you said give 1 more year.
You extend him 1 year, you extend Godwin 1 year. By extending Godwin 1 year at $22 million, number one, you get a wide receiver who's your number one now at a number one wide receiver's annual rate. But that also frees up $14 million for this upcoming season. So with those two moves, just by extending your best receivers by a year, the Bucs are now $11.25 million under the cap for the 2023 football season. The next two moves that you make, you restructure Vita Vea and you restructure Carlton Davis. You pay them under league minimum with the bonus. That saves you $10 million on Davis and $9 million on Vita Vea. You're now $30.25 million under the cap, and all you have done is get rid of 4 pieces of dead weight, and Brady retired, which you knew he was most likely going to move on anyways. So now, the last set of moves, re-signing Levante David and William Golston for reasonable, club-friendly deals before March 1st. If you can do that before March 1st, that washes out the dead cap hits that they would carry. And so for $1 million of your cap space, you bring back David and Golston versus what you would be paying them on dead cap anyways if you don't re-sign them before March 1st. So now the Bucs have actually retained 2 free agents, got rid of 4 pieces of dead weight, extended Evans and Godwin, and now have $29.25 million in cap space available.
Because we're stuck with Russell Gage's contract.
You're not stuck with him, though. Russell Gage was a solid number, his
contract.
Yeah, but you can't do much with that.
Yeah, because I know it's $10 million, so I mean, obviously.
But you're not stuck with it. That's a contract that's maybe $1 million or $2 million above his market value. He was a number one for Atlanta.
What?
I mean, he kind of had to be, but
Yeah,
his
I mean,
market
Ridley-
coming into
Ridley
Tampa,
kinda,
he
yeah.
was a highly favored
Oh no, I'm
number
just saying.
two,
I didn't know if they
borderline
could.
one.
Yeah.
I just
kinda
was
money.
saying.
And he's only, what, 27 years old?
Yeah.
I
was
think
just
the Bucks
saying
got
with
him for a
his
solid deal.
Yeah, no, I was just saying like because he's gonna be making 10 over the next 2.
You could. I mean, there's
a lot
like
of dead
guys
cap.
like him, guys like Shaq Barrett. There's guys that are you could free up another 10, $20 million if you're the Bucks easily if you have to. But
No.
here's where I would make my number one free agent target is Kelvin Beachum from the Arizona Cardinals as your tackle replacement for Donovan Smith, because you can get him for about $3 or $4 million a year. He has graded out, I think, all 10 years of his career. He's an older dude. He's 33, going to be 34. Even this season, graded out over 70 under Pro Football Focus's grading scale pretty much every single season of his career. So you're getting an above. I mean, if we're not talking a replacement level tackle, we're talking about a solid tackle to go in there, and then you can decide what you're going to do with Wirfs. And that is if you can't get somebody like Broderick Jones in the draft at number 19, which it's going to be interesting to see. It's a very offensive tackle heavy draft. There's none that are like insanely higher than the other ones. You got about 10 guys that are
good second and third round guys.
Yeah, anywhere from mid first round to late third round talent that you can get on offensive tackle.
Let me go to this 239 number. 239.
Hey, Lummy, you're the man.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, I called last week, and I
course.
called prior to the 49er game, and I kind of indicated that the 49ers were going to win that game. I just wanted to call back and say that I guess Brian was correct. And
Brian's
I
feeling
don't know
good.
if you recall, he's got the man love for Philadelphia, and
Yeah, last week he told you how much he loved Philly.
I mean, listen, that game would have been a lot different if both their quarterbacks don't get injured.
Yeah,
but,
even Josh Johnson probably could have kept it close.
Well, no, I think it actually might have been worse if Josh Johnson continued.
He wasn't looking that bad, and he's a former grade Buccaneer.
Didn't he have a pick already?
It looked like the
No, he had a
last
fumble.
place he wanted to be.
He had a fumble. He got a concussion.
Well, they didn't keep him in after that.
I know.
Yeah, but before that
could've made
concussion, he looked like he would have been.
They were
rather been
look,
anywhere else in the world.
There was no world in which San Francisco was winning that game. It was never
none.
going to happen. I said it was a damn lock that Philly was going to win that game.
Well, then how about that? I mean, when it rains, it pours, though. Because how about that shit? Couple of drives after Purdy leaving the game and obviously not feeling great on the sideline. You get Bosa just standing there minding his own business.
Yeah.
Gets taken the fuck out. Like, yeah, it was pretty terrible.
You got to have your head on a swivel on the sideline.
it should have been 7-0. I mean, with that that call that was in error. So your sticky Valentine man
call,
love.
yeah, that catch that they got away with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm
Brian.
sure that really would have stopped them.
Good
from,
luck. I'm going to follow your prediction in the Super Bowl. Enjoy listening to you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks, man.
Great guy, great caller, great caller, Brian. I think we're all kind of in a we like your thinking there.
I mean, this is a scenario. Now, the problem for the Bucks in free agency is it's a lot less attractive of a location until you get a quarterback for free agents. Guys want to go someplace where they can win, where they can further their career and their personal achievements. And without a quarterback, it's pretty hard to have an identity as a team. So that is going to be priority number one for the Bucks, is identifying what they're going to do at the quarterback position, which now becomes the big question, because the hope of re-signing Brady is off the table now. So now where do the Bucks go from there?
Yeah, but don't they have to get their offensive coordinator first?
Well, I think you do that in conjunction with a quarterback. I mean, you don't if you're going after
you're going to hire an OC before you.
Well, I think it depends. If you're looking to make a trade, like let's say somehow they're trying to trade for Derek Carr or somebody like that, I think you want to make sure that your OC and Carr are going to mesh well. I think you're going to want to make sure that they're on the same page. So I think if you're not going for a trade of a named quarterback, then yes, you bring in your OC immediately. But if you're going to be looking to trade for a quarterback before March 1st, then I think you maybe pump the brakes on the OC side of things and figure out what your quarterback fit is going to be with the OC.
I do think eventually you're going to start to see more and more OC options disappear, though, and that's another concern for the Bucs because they're interviewing guys left and right. But I did want to ask you a question about the quarterback position in particular. So the consensus is that the most realistic option for them is probably just going to settle for a veteran presence through free agency because with pick 19. You can trade up and get a guy if you really like him and he happens to be there and there's a trade that works itself out. But, I can't imagine they're going to be looking at a quarterback at 19.
People keep talking about AR, which...
No. Everybody has AR off the board before the Bucs.
They're going to draft a Stetson Bennett before they draft an Anthony Richardson, in my humble opinion.
The name that I'm hearing as a Bucs target in the second round is Tanner McKee from Stanford.
Okay.
He's got the measurables, 6'6", 230, not a complete liability in the pocket, doesn't scramble super well, but he is the prototypical size of a quarterback. He's got the completion percentage in college that you want to see from an NFL quarterback, which is around 65%. That's a possibility if they don't believe in Trask. I don't want to go into the season with our two options at quarterback being Tanner McKee and Kyle Trask.
Well, okay, so let me ask you another question then. Another scenario here. Let's say they just go ahead and take a year on a veteran presence. Kyle Trask rides the bench, and then let's say in this hypothetical they end up hiring Todd Monken. I know that police footage has come out and it hasn't stopped teams from drafting a guy, but I have to believe that Bennett's somewhat low draft stock is going to continue to plummet after that came out. Could the Bucs take a flyer on a guy like that, whether he goes undrafted or he's a sixth-round guy, and then you go into the season with a quarterback room looking like Kyle Trask, Stetson Bennett, and let's just say, for sake of convenience here, Gardner Minshew?
Oh, I would love that.
Wouldn't that be fucking awesome?
Here's the thing. Once
right?
we get Gardner Minshew, then our quarterback problems are solved because he'll be the quarterback for the next 4 years.
Yeah, but if you got Monken and Trask, I hate to say they probably know he's not the guy, but I wouldn't count on Trask being your QB2. I would not. I mean, I feel
I honestly, if they didn't have him so cheap and under that's a guy you cut, but you don't want him taking up a roster spot potentially.
I can see him cutting him if he's doing what he did last year during training camp. I can see them cutting him.
Well, they would have to have 2 or 3 very viable alternatives to him.
They'll probably bring back Blaine Gabbert.
Jesus Christ, no.
Listen, he is a Todd Bowles guy. Todd Bowles loves him.
Is he a Bowles guy?
Well,
because Bowles didn't get a whole lot of say-so in the offensive staff that was in Tampa last year.
He was a Bowles guy because he was an Arians guy.
What kind of... Okay.
What, Arians? What does Arians have to say about the offense?
Well, Arians can't say shit. He can complain all he wants, but he's not up in there making decisions. This is Todd Bowles' team now. And this is the first year that Todd Bowles is going to have a say-so in, what he wants his coaching staff to look like and probably what kind of quarterback he's going to want on the roster.
I sure hope so. I hope he does because, if he gets fired, it's going to be the same thing that, it wasn't Todd Bowles.
It's a year that you're going to have to eat it regardless, but it could be a really fun season for Tampa Bay. Even if they go, 8-9 wins, I feel like that would almost be overachieving at this point.
It's a winnable division. I mean,
yeah.
you gotta do what you can right now, though, because you can still make the playoffs and you can still compete. There's nobody in that division that you're looking at and you're like, oh my goodness, they're going to run away with it.
What about when the Atlanta Falcons wind up with Lamar Jackson?
Well, if that happens, then that changes things. But the problem for the Falcons is the receiver talent. I mean, I know they had that rookie kid, and they've got Pitts. But Pitts hasn't shown anything in 2 seasons.
No.
Okay, nothing. He has not shown an ability to be a game-changing tight end. Now, granted, his quarterback options have been limited, but I don't know that even Lamar on Atlanta does anything but at this point without Moore makes them a 500 team. I don't see Lamar taking Atlanta from a 5 or 6 win team all the way up to a 12-win team.
Well, they got a good amount of salary cap, correct?
They do. They have a ton
but
of salary cap.
He can make him a division winner.
Well, I'm saying they could always
division.
Yeah, they could always trade for.
No, but
as
what I'm
Bubba
saying
says, the guy out of Arizona,
Hopkins. Yeah, and that's not to say that that Atlanta wouldn't bring in other pieces, and that somebody playing with Lamar wouldn't want free agent wouldn't want to play with him there. But I'm just saying it's all Lamar would do would be, at this point, Lamar alone would get the Falcons to the level of the rest of the teams in the division. I mean, honestly, with what they have around them, it's not like they are this talent-laden team. Now, they would have to add other pieces and parts to make them the clear favorite in that division, which
100%.
they could. Which they could. I mean, they've got, $56 million in cap space. So how they structure Lamar and his deal and all of that, they could go out and get some significant help if they had, him only count $30 million against the cap this year.
Now, Bleacher Report just put this out, and this is obviously before you broke down, so I'm sure all the major news coverages will pick up, because they still have the Bucs being currently $55.7 million over. But
you've
already
still
worked
are
it.
$55
yeah, I know,
million
but you've
over.
already worked it,
Yeah.
so I mean, you already figured a way. These are the quarterbacks they say they're the most likely going to go after. Jimmy G. What do you guys think on that?
I can see it. I wouldn't like it, but I can see it.
I mean, God, if you just want to tread water, it's not. So we have a downfield receiving attack and not a great running game and not a great running offensive line, at this point. And so you've got to retool your entire offensive line to make somebody like Jimmy G work. And I don't think it's worth it.
There's obviously a new offensive coordinator play into that. If you bring in a guy who can get a little more creative, can start to design plays that just make your best players available and not so much focus on the big play downfield, because that's what the Bucs have been good at for the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you want a more well-rounded. I think you still need a quarterback that can win you games, not a game manager.
Agreed.
If you want a game manager, I would rather pay money and get Geno. Not even get Geno Smith as a game manager. He's a better quarterback.
Speaking of quarterbacks that can win you some fucking games, Daniel Jones, huh?
Yeah, number two on
Danny
the
Dimes.
list. Danny Dimes, who be dropping dimes in Tampa, Brian. According to Bleacher Report, Danny Dimes dropping dimes. He's got legs. He can wheel it out, and he can drop dimes in any place he goes.
I don't think the Giants let him go.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate it.
He's only 25.
He's only 25, and he's not going to command high-end dollars as far as, he'll get good money because he's a free agent quarterback. But, I mean, I could see him, getting a, $20 million a year, $25 million a year?
No, I'm not going to lie. I saw that he obviously improved a little bit this year. Giants were in the postseason. But when you look at Daniel Jones and you ask yourself the question, is he the kind of quarterback that's going to lose you more games than he'll win you? Because, I mean...
No, not after this season. I think he put that to rest this year.
Okay.
He wasn't out there costing the Giants games.
His 1.1 interception percentage in 2022 is the best mark in the NFL. So
There
he's
you go.
not turning the ball over.
Yeah, no, he went out there now. He went out there with he had no receivers.
He
no
really
receivers. So
He was a dual threat by the end of the season.
You give him Godwin, Evans, and Gage, along with Kate Otten at tight end, and I mean he's got some weapons on the Bucs that he can throw to that he's never had in New York. I would, if I'm the Bucs, what I would do to get Daniel Jones is give him a 4-year deal, and extend him out that way and further.
The Bucs also took a look and interviewed this week the pass game coordinator for New York. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he worked very closely with Daniel Jones. Could be another thing to consider if they end up looking that.
Yeah.
How stupid by the Giants, though, to decline his $22 million option last year.
Yeah.
They could have had him for a year at $22 million, which would a 1-year deal for somebody like that. He's probably worth a $30 million on a 1-year contract based upon salaries.
And they could have been working on it all off season, knowing that they have him next year.
Right. So Sport Track has his value at $26.2 million over 3 years. That's what I'm saying. If the Bucs gave him 4 years at $100 million, they might be able to make that work. And that would be a competitive offer if they're extending him out further. Hell, even maybe do 5 years at $120.
And a lot of bonuses. A lot of
incentives.
Yeah.
If you want him, if you think he's the guy.
And
He's only 25. He's only going to be 26 years old. So 5 years puts him at 31. You're getting literally a quarterback in his prime.
And then
you're getting a Stetson Bennett,
which I literally hate.
But you're not getting.
But you're not
Stetson
getting
Bennett.
a fresh.
Yeah, you're getting
a guy
with no
who's
experience and off-field maturity issues.
Yeah, a guy who's taken his lumps. I mean, Daniel Jones he sucked. You know what I mean? Like rookie year, year 2, last year.
Yeah, but you got to think
22,
who
but
the
you know what I'm
players,
saying.
the players around him were too on the Giants.
Sure.
And then Barkley blowing out his knee.
Yeah,
I mean,
Right.
that didn't help a young quarterback.
No, you're right. I mean, he has certainly gone through the trials and tribulations of a young quarterback, but especially a young quarterback on a team that just really didn't have shit. It's not like he was playing on a roster that was loaded and couldn't
I
make
mean,
it
here's
work.
his career stats: 64% completion, 6.7 yards per attempt, 60 touchdowns versus 34 interceptions. And the guy has, over the course of 54 games, so he's essentially started the equivalent of 4 NFL seasons.
How many
slightly
fumbles?
under.
he had a ton. I think he had 30, 24, 25 fumbles. He had a good amount of fumbles his first 2 seasons.
He cut down on that this year, though.
Yeah.
It's good.
He only lost 3 fumbles this year, and he only fumbled the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
That's still it still seems like an oddly high number for a
3
quarterback.
lost. He recovered 1 of his own, or 2 of his own. So take those off, because if he's recovering his own, those aren't fumbles. Those are just temporary misplacements of the ball.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been the center.
Bad snap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that you got to get over. I'm sure it accounts for a quarterback fumble. So okay, it is.
The
what it is.
third quarterback that they have, everyone kind of talks about, was already, and I can't stand. Is
I
But
hate
look,
that he's
real
always-
quick, look at the progression on his career. First year, 12 interceptions. Second year, 10 interceptions. Third year, 7 interceptions. This past year, down to 5.
Hey, I
so
like
he's
it.
taken
That's
his
steady.
interception percentage from 2.6 down to 1.1.
Yeah. That's
you
kind of like your spreadsheet for college coaches and their measure of success. If you can see constant improvement,
Yep.
And 9-6-1 as a starter this year. I mean,
there
that's
you
a
go.
winning
Well,
record
yeah,
in
playoff
a
appearance.
brutally tough division.
playoff appearance, you know?
67.2% completion percentage for 3,200 yards, with what we all acknowledge was no receiving core whatsoever.
playoff win.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Red, about Anthony Richardson?
I hate that he's always the top guy
I know.
when they talk
Yeah.
about potential, draft options for Tampa Bay at the quarterback position. Like, if they were taking it that seriously, there's got to be better options than Anthony Richardson. And like, I'm a fucking Gators fan, and I know that I'm not the only Florida fan who's saying this stuff.
I don't think that he should have come out this year. I
I
think
don't
he should
think
have
he should have
returned.
either. He
I
had
think
an
he should have
awful,
returned.
like that
I think
that
it's
week
smarter.
one hype.
It's smarter to come out now when you're a projected talent than
Projected
it is
first
to
round.
show that you're not that, right?
That's a good point, Brian.
Why would so first of all of the mocks I see have him going by number 10 to Carolina.
Yep, number 9. Yeah.
Number 9 or number
Yeah.
10. So why in the hell, if you're Anthony Richardson, would you stay in school? Why? Play for a retooling Florida Gators team that's going to be bottom
Yeah, but
of
that's
the SEC?
Yeah, but that's a mock, man. He could fall too.
That's the thing, is that I hate to say it, like, there's mocks that are wrong every year, and it just feels.
How wrong are they on a top 10 pick?
Right, a lot of times.
No, all the way out of the top 2 rounds, the first 2 rounds. There's no way he falls out of the first 2 rounds of the draft.
I
No
see-
way.
I wouldn't say
I think there's
way.
a better chance than you think that he
I
falls
wouldn't
out of the
say-
first
Based
round.
on what though?
Oh, out of the first round? I
Out
could
of
see him going high second, low
no,
first.
I said out of the first 2.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think he's falling out of the second.
No, that's what
No.
I'm saying. He's going to get paid. He's going to get into the NFL. He's not going to have to take his lumps at Florida. There's nothing he can do at the first of all, his combine numbers are going to be ridiculous because the guy's a freak athlete.
Right. Yeah.
So his if you're looking now, his individual team workouts may not go great. That might be a concern, but they're looking at him as a diamond in the rough. They're not looking at this guy as a polished, finished product. So,
Sure.
so they're projecting what they think he might be, and they're going to find a team that uses a pick as a scratch-off ticket. And somebody like Carolina, a team with a lot of draft equity, is going to take a shot at Anthony Richardson. I don't care what the mocks say or what's going to happen. I don't think he falls past number 15 in the draft this year.
It's going to be a reach no matter what.
Brian sounds like he is Anthony Richards' agent at that point.
No.
I'm not.
I know,
I'm just.
man.
I'm saying it's a
I think
smart
he
move
is-
on
No,
his part.
but I'm
Because
saying
I
if-
don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
No, but I'm saying if you were his agent, that's probably exactly when he's like, hey, should I come out? And what you labeled out there in the first part of Anthony, why he should come out, you were like, you're going to get paid. And you're not going to fall, underneath the,
Yeah, and
probably
at the end of
15th.
the day, despite the season that he had, we can say whatever he wants, but he is still number 3 in the conversation in a team that needs a quarterback. So I'm sure that there's other people grading quarterbacks who, have a high risk, high reward label on this guy.
Yeah.
It's just good situation for him, but I think any NFL team that drafts him in the top 10, top 15, that's a reach all day.
Good luck, Carolina. 239.
He only completed 54% of his passes.
Oh no, it was
this
not
season.
good. It was not a good year, and he was a baby on the sidelines.
I know, man.
239.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Bubba or you guys just do a story on Brady giving Aaron Rodgers advice about not making any retirement decisions
The
for
day
like
after
a
the
couple
season.
months? Right.
Yeah.
Brady didn't make the
And-
decision the day after the season. He seemingly made it this morning or yesterday.
And it was an anniversary.
Yeah,
Mike.
February 1st. Yeah, this is February Fool's Day.
Yeah, Mike, don't you know that?
Do you think there's any chance, he gets the itch and goes back on his word next year?
There's always a chance.
Someone will throw enough money at him, and it's a best case scenario for him. Obviously, I don't see him going to Denver to follow Sean Payton. But
What a fucking rib. I can't wait to see him involved in,
thanks,
this
Mike.
team could potentially have interest in Tom Brady all the way until, mid-April.
Oh,
Which-
yeah.
now talking-
Mid-April. Are you kidding? When
Mid-April,
quarterbacks start going down mid-season,
All-
Yeah.
yeah,
it's
all
going to be
these-
Tom Brady's
come
out
back.
there.
Oh.
Yeah, Tom Brady's just sitting around not doing much.
That's
he's
a
in
great
shape.
scenario for the Bucks, though, because then they can trade away his contract.
Perfect.
No, they can't. He has no contract. He's a free agent. But they actually, I don't know what would happen in that scenario.
I thought-
because of the
Because
way
you're not
they're-
really able to kick it.
Yeah.
You can't just eat dead cap in the middle of the season, can you?
No, and that's why I think maybe I don't know what would happen. Quite honestly, that's a good question. What would happen if Brady came back? Would another team have to take on his dead cap money? I don't know.
I thought it forfeits his that contract, so the dead cap would
No,
go
because
away.
he's already earned that money. This is just the dead cap is just the Bucks had kicked the can down the road.
Yeah.
Spreading it out.
If he did not retire, if Brady had re-signed or signed rather with the Raiders, let's say, the Bucks could not do anything with that $35 million worth of dead cap. They would have had to have taken that hit all this year instead of pushing $24 million of it to next season, which they can.
Perfect. Now, talking about good decisions, Sean Payton going to the Broncos. What's your feelings on that? With the first and second round picks going to New Orleans.
Feels grimy.
Tell me when any time in history giving up draft picks for a head coach has worked out well.
Technically
well,
1 year.
yeah.
1 year.
I don't even think the Gruden thing really worked out that well.
Listen, the Bucks.
I don't know that I don't know that the Bucks were so stacked on defense that year. I don't know that they don't necessarily win with Tony Dungy or any other head coach as their head coach that year.
True, but I mean, technically, if you want to look at it that way, it did work
maybe
out.
the only
Bill Belichick.
Did they give up to a first and a second for him?
Bill Parcells,
They
Mike
gave up a pretty
Holmgren,
penny.
Bill Belichick, right here. Patriots agreed to trade a first, fourth, and fifth round to the Jets in exchange for Belichick. So yeah, I think that one worked out.
That one worked out. Yeah, that one worked out.
They got Gruden, so it looks like. Oh, here these are the top
they
five.
ranked him. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
The top coaching. Okay, this is good.
Don Shula.
Oh, really? They traded for him, huh?
Because tampering rules sent a first round pick to Baltimore.
Oh, because
in
of
exchange.
tampering. That's not a trade.
Well, exchange for the coach's rights.
Yeah, because they tampered, right?
Yeah. So I mean, technically, Bill Parcells. Looks like they traded New York traded first, second, third, and fourth rounders to the Patriots over the next 2 years.
Wait, but how did he work out for the Jets?
They went first, second year, 15-1. I mean, they did pretty well. The Jets.
If they didn't get a championship out of it.
And then doesn't count. So I don't know why he's technically number two.
Yeah, I mean,
if anything, Belichick should be number
definitely
one.
fucking above that.
Belichick should be number one.
Yeah.
Mike Holmgren, they got a Super Bowl out of it. Seattle had to trade a second-round pick to the Packers, so I think that worked out pretty.
That's not terrible.
That worked out. Bill Belichick and then obviously John Gruden.
And that's it.
Oh, Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards.
I don't think that worked out too well.
I mean,
Traded a fourth-round pick to the Jets for Edwards in 2006. Kansas City went 15-33. Yeah, I don't think that worked out. And Bruce Arians. Tampa Bay sent a sixth-round pick to the Cardinals.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
And they got a seventh round back. So they traded one round.
Well, you're talking about
pick.
just completely selling out. You know what I mean? Kind of potentially mortgaging the future to bring in a coach that can take this team to the next level. Now, the
Because the Broncos are loaded.
Well, the $1 million question is, the Broncos are obviously loaded so they can field a roster, but is this a team that Sean Payton can take and win a Super Bowl with in 3 years?
Is Sean Payton that great of a coach?
That's
also what we're going to find out.
That's the thing is how much of Sean Payton's success was tied to Drew Brees.
And it's funny because I kind of mentioned this a little bit last week.
And playing in the NFC South.
Yeah.
I mean, not just Drew
kidding.
Brees.
He's over in the AFC. He's in a tough division now.
Much tougher division.
Yeah.
Much tougher division.
I kind of mentioned this last week, how it felt like, or it was starting to feel like Sean Payton was just going to let this coaching cycle play out and really jump back into it next year. But I think in the back of everyone's mind, Denver was what they were saying from the beginning, like all the way back in December and January before they had even fired their head coach, they were talking about a potential link between Denver and Sean Payton. He flirted with it a couple of times with Jay Glazer on Fox, and it ends up working out.
Sunday, they said we're not going to give you a big trophy unless you're coming back as a Fox analyst next year, and he took the big trophy.
So
I believed him.
I mean, listen, he also told Jameis Winston that he was going to, take him to the next level, and he left him high and dry after a year of that shit.
That's Jameis Winston. And by the way, Rhett, I guess we were just on TV.
Wait, and
go on the boat.
Were we really?
Yeah.
Let's go. Forever immortalized, buddy.
We were there, babyface.
Well, backing up to something that I let slide earlier is Rhett compared Daniel Jones to Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett's 5'11". Daniel Jones is 6'5". Daniel Jones at least has prototypical pocket quarterback.
You're overthinking it, man. I wasn't making a fucking direction. I wasn't
wheels.
saying they're the same player at all.
Oh,
I was just talking about the fact that they're both fucking 25 years old.
Can we get what you think Stetson Bennett sounds like?
I've never listened to a single
damn it, I thought you were going to do the whole Lions coach, because you're only.
Oh yeah, man.
Because every time you pretend to be someone, it sounds just like him, the Lions coach.
Yeah,
he's a stud. But I was looking up
MCDC, baby.
I was looking up
Motor City Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Motor City Dan Campbell. That's Rhett's best impression. I'm looking at his coaching record: 152, 89, postseason 9-8, career 161-97. I mean, that's not. It's good.
He wanted a veteran quarterback.
He's 9-8 with a Super Bowl in there, so that means you got 6-8 when he's not.
And that was in 2006, right?
Yeah, it's been a long
time. Super Bowl was 2010.
2010.
Was it 2010? Okay, he won the coach of the year.
It was the year of Bountygate. It was when they were fucking paying players to go take everybody out.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh wait, he took a year. Oh, that's right.
Took a year off because
2012. He was the offense coordinator for Liberty Christian School in Texas.
Yeah, they made a movie out of it with Kevin James, fucking Paul Blart.
Because I guess nowadays
what
Sean Payton does look like Kevin
What
James.
A casting decision. I remember when that movie was announced and they were making it, I'd laughed.
I'm reading about his Liberty Christian Warrior days at 2012. He obtained footage from a player's father of the opposing team during a playoff and contacted his mentor, Bill Parcells, to help him break down the opponent's offense. Hey, at least this guy takes his job serious.
It's funny because it's almost like he's always been a fucking scumbag. Like I've never liked him as a head coach. Like he's a good head coach, but he's still a piece of shit. Like he just, I can't stand him, dude. He used to, you used to watch it, Lummy. He used to run the score up on Tampa Bay twice a year.
I'm excited to see how he plays in a real division that is loaded with talent and not where he's got clearly the best team most years.
Well, look, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, the other question is obviously Russ and how well he's going to play. Like he started to kind of come back around towards the end of the year and make some throws, but then he had that big bump on the noggin, and then
did he really though? He had like one or two good games.
He had one or two good games, and they came at the end of the season. Is kind of what I'm saying.
Well, I'm looking.
I think Peyton's going to bring a new offense. Nothing drastically different, but like I think he's. He knew how to make the most of a deteriorating Drew Brees. I feel like he can do something similar with Russ, and they're going to be able to be a little more competitive.
Well, I'm looking at his head coaching record right now. In 14, 15, and 16, they were 7-9. 14, 15, and 16, who are the teams? The Falcons, right? The Falcons pretty much.
Yeah, 15 was the 15-1 Panthers. 14 was, was it Atlanta?
Well, 16 was Atlanta, I believe. That's when they went to the Super Bowl.
16 was Atlanta. I want to say Carolina won it in 14 then. I think 14-15 was, Cam's MVP, their Super Bowl run.
I mean, they made a little run again, but it's not impressive. I mean, he has these 4-year, he had 4-year stints.
No, his 1 year without Drew Brees, he was 9-8.
No, I'm saying it's 4-year stints of like they
Yeah.
win it's like
Well, and I think the reason, like, I hate to say that they were overrated because you're not going to say that at the beginning of the season, but like the Saints could never get it done, but they always played so well in the regular season. Like, you look at all the years they got shafted when he was on that 4-year stint. They were going like 13-3, 14-2, winning the division, sweeping everybody, 12 wins, 13-3 2 years in a row, 18-19,
He's
12-4,
1-2 in championship games, in conference championship games.
People love to pick them as like, dark horse Super Bowl contender every year.
yeah, he's only been to the Super Bowl one time.
Yeah, I mean, it's 9-8 in the playoffs is all I need to know about a coach to know that he's not the man.
He's not worth the first and second rounder, and all you get is a third round back.
Well,
Didn't the Broncos give up a ton for Russell Wilson?
Yeah, and the only reason they have that first round pick is because they traded to the Dolphins, and so I had forgotten that they even got that back.
Yeah, for the defensive player.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's if you're Denver, would you rather have? I mean, there's not a lot of other coaches you could go after, and maybe they decided after doing all the interviews and everything that if it wasn't going to be Sean Payton, they just wasted everything with Russ Wilson.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at other coaches, I mean, look at obviously what the Carolina did.
I don't blame Denver for going all in because they already did with Russ, but I'm not convinced that Sean Payton is this mastermind. I think, again, he's benefited, and we can see it in his playoff record. He benefited from playing in the NFC South.
I think he'll make them
Most
competitive.
years.
I'm not sure how competitive they'll be in that beast of a division.
The Broncos have
like probably a third, second place division team, but they're going to show up in the playoffs, and they're going to be the team that doesn't get it done every year.
Broncos have 6 draft picks next year.
Yeah, but
third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
Yeah, I mean, after the third or fourth, you're really shooting darts.
Yeah.
Well,
no first or second round.
I mean, but like you said, they had to go on for that coaches, right? I mean, coaching besides a coordinator. I mean, you're looking at the Panthers hired, and then the Texans just hired their new defensive their
New
head coach who was the defensive coordinator. I mean, it didn't really look like. I mean, what do you think of the Carolina Panthers hire?
Reich?
Yeah, I mean,
couldn't get it done in Indy.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it.
Felt like not quite a lateral move, but a half step up from where they were before.
The problem I have with a team like Carolina doing that is you go with an old established coach if you're in a position to turn it around and win right away. And I don't know that Carolina's there. I mean, they have some parts and pieces. They're not a tragic team, but why not roll the dice on a young, hungry coordinator, and you may hit it rich with a Dan Campbell type coach who's going to turn around the attitude, the atmosphere in there. It's just somebody like Frank Reich doesn't move the needle, and I don't that's a baffling hire and decision to me. I think you roll the dice on a coach and take a chance because it's not like you have an identity right now. If you're Carolina, what's your team identity? Are you going to keep around Sam Darnold?
Yeah, that's the way it's looking right now until you got that number 9 pick, and if they do draft a quarterback.
I mean, that's where everybody's putting AR-15.
Well, I mean, Frank Wright already did come out and say how he understands the value of having a franchise quarterback. I mean, he did sit behind Jim Kelly in Buffalo for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that was a pretty shitty hire, in my opinion.
It's just, it doesn't, like, the fit doesn't necessarily make sense to me.
It just seems like you said, like a retread. It's like, okay, you brought a guy in that wasn't really successful in Indy, and now you're just kind of.
You took more of a chance on Rule because he didn't have the track record, but like now you bring in a proven average coach with a track record. That's the only different feeling I get with this hire.
Who was the Carolina Panthers guy that filled in? Because he looked like he turned.
Steve Wilkes.
He seemed like he seemed like he turned the team around.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying he got screwed, but some of the more serious Carolina fans that I talked to, they kind of understood why they wanted to pass on a guy like that. I fully didn't understand, but yeah, he had that team playing really well. They had one of the better run games in the NFL second half of the season. Like their offense was totally anchored by the way he was able to just keep that team together. They played
went
well
6-6,
and like.
I mean, 500
historically, for some reason, as well, teams usually step up and play better under an interim head coach. But yeah, I mean, I guess he's back to doing daytime television.
Yeah, he's a
Nice.
bodyguard.
I mean, it looks like he's been a coordinator and a defensive back. I mean, since '95.
For Carolina?
No. Like
no,
throughout
just
the
in general.
in college and the NFL. So I mean, he's got experience.
so there's
he's been
6
around the
wins.
league.
They beat the Bucks, Falcons, Broncos, Seattle, Detroit, and the Saints. So they beat every team in their division.
Yep.
And then their losses were to the Bucks, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, and Falcons. I mean, those are not terrible losses. Falcons were in OT. One of their losses, the loss to the Bucks, ended up being a 1-score game. The loss to the Steelers was an 8-point game. The loss to the Ravens was 10 points. They weren't getting blown out, with the exception of the Bengals. And they were looking good. They were.
He beat the Lions at the end of the year too. When the Lions were hot.
Yeah, I don't know. Steve Wilkes or Frank Reich. I don't know that it makes a huge difference either way, but I don't know why you make the move for Frank Reich. I mean, you might as well, especially if the players liked Wilkes and liked what he was doing there, then you keep him around. See, give him a year. Don't sign him to a long-term deal. Give him a 1-year deal. You know what? He'll take it.
Yeah, he did in Arizona.
Yeah, he'll take a 1-year contract, and then you say, we're going to revisit it after this season.
Especially if you're trying to build a roster, too, that is going to look more attractive to a potential head coaching hire the following season.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. What's going to open up next year is from head coaching perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
kinda take it
Arians
on the
wants to
chin.
get back into the game one more year.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Has a
What?
heart attack on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that whole health thing anyhow. I think it will come out later. 813-90-BBBA, 813-90-Bubba. Then the Texans head coach, I actually dismissed this when they mentioned his name. He was kind of like a flyby when they were talking about who would be the next Texans coach. DeMeco, is it DeMarco Ryans, right? DeMeco, is that how you say it? DeMeco Ryans. I mean, isn't he only like 38, 39? He's going to be one of the youngest coaches in the league.
That's what feels like most of these new hires are, especially for an organization like Houston. You don't want to bring Lovie Smith back and you want to hire the younger guy. A lot of people think this is a sexy hire, and I kind of agree. Like, I think something that flew under the radar, he's, 49ers defensive coordinator. They had one of the better units in the NFL this year.
Yeah, he was there for 6 years.
Another young guy getting a shot. There's not a lot of
It makes sense when you have a team with no identity. That's what I'm saying.
And there's not a lot of Frank Reichs getting hired anymore in general. Like people don't hire old coaches anymore. We
have Frank Reich and Sean Payton would like to enter the conversation.
Jesus Christ. But unless you're in a position, Carolina aside, unless you're in a position to feel like you have the roster to go for a run and you're kind of sticking your neck out for that coach, it's kind of just something that doesn't feel like it happens that much anymore.
So do you see the Texans kind of turning it around, or is it pretty much going to be the Texans are going to still be the Texans for the next couple of years?
It's going to be another 4 or 5 win season.
I mean, they've got 2 or 3 years to try and figure out what they're going to be moving forward. I think they signed him to a 6-year deal. So, they're
That's not normal for a coach, is it?
I mean, they need to, though. After you just went 1 year out, and did Lovey as dirty as they did, unless that was the understanding with Lovey that he was going to be one and done. The team has no identity, though. That's the problem, and they have no. I mean, what's the future hold for Houston? God knows. So they're going to be 2 to 3 years just to get something, put something together.
I just went on ESPN.com. They replaced Tom Brady retires as breaking news. Breaking news, former MVP Stewart leaving Storm for Liberty.
That's pretty big news. Breonna Stewart is one of the biggest names in the WNBA.
So you're familiar with her?
Yeah, she played college ball at UConn. She was, I think, a 4-time national championship winner at UConn. Really solid female basketball player.
I also saw that the Las Vegas Aces have one of the greatest starting fives in WNBA history.
Yeah,
they're really fielding. They're really fielding probably the strongest team in the league this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want to go take a look.
No, I'm probably just gonna be going to the USF game tonight.
The spring football game.
No, the basketball game versus ECU tonight.
That is correct.
Yeah.
7:00. Got some nice cheap tickets.
I'll tell you this. That, frustrating year for USF men's basketball. Great product on the field. They literally could be 20-3 right now. They've lost so many close games. Their inability to shoot free throws and make big plays at the end of the game has been maddening. But they took Houston to the brink.
Yep.
They almost beat Auburn on the road at Auburn. And they have a squad and they have talent on that team
Yeah, that
Sam
one kid can
Hines
fly
Jr.,
too.
Tyler Harris, Keyshawn Bryant. They've got Russell Chua. They've really got some players, and it's a shame that they have not been able to put it together. I will tell you this though, I would not want to play them in the conference tournament.
Yeah, I was like, I think they could run it in the conference tournament.
They
Didn't
could.
they do that a couple years ago? No, it was like
They
2009.
could. They didn't run it. They won a couple games, but they have enough talent. They've shown that they can compete with anybody in the AAC, including Houston.
Oh yeah, who was a 2-point game, right? 82-80.
I think they ended up losing by 6 or 7, but
Oh, okay.
but they were up.
Yeah.
They were up with like 5 minutes left in the game, on the road against what at the time was the number 1 team in the country.
What do they pop down to now? I know they got that
Houston,
loss.
I think they're down to like 6 or something.
Oh.
5. They're not far down.
I know I'm pretty sure that you like the Neo deal, but like there's this article here that just popped out about 11-16 that Jaden Rashadada, he's decommitting from Florida for Arizona State now because he lost out on his $15 million.
It was never.
And
Neo deal.
I think we
Yeah.
touched on this last week, but like, who the fuck was telling him that?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Like, I don't
There's
think
put- yeah.
anyone from who actually officially represented the Gators was telling him.
Paid out over 4 years.
I
He-
just-
4 years,
there's-
$15 million to go to Florida.
There's no way.
There's no way to recover that money, and nobody's giving that away to a high school kid with no proven track record. I mean, now with the transfer portal, you might be able to get $4 million your last 2 years to stay at a school, to not transfer out. They may see, the alumni may see value in pouring money into you to keep you around, but I don't want to see these incoming freshmen getting multi-million-dollar
$5,
deals.
$6, $7, $8 million years the first year.
I mean, even $2 million is too much.
Let's see. It says that his sources reported to ESPN that he was not focused on Neal deals on the second process now after he was screwed out of the Florida deal. So he's not focused on the Neal deal anymore. So I'm guessing that he didn't get one with Arizona State.
No, he'll get some money from them. That wasn't his focus. His focus was finding a team that would take him after he royally botched his entire process. He decommitted from Miami to go to Florida because they essentially said, we'll pay you more. He had a good offer from Miami, apparently, and turned it down because he got greedy. And now he's learning an important life lesson, which is that
Don't follow the buck.
which is the white man will screw you over.
Whoa, Brian. How do you know that's what the case was anyhow?
Oh, I'm fairly certain.
How do you know it wasn't someone else?
I'm joking, man. Come on.
Jeez,
relax.
Brian, I mean-
take it easy.
Right, what's our disclaimer?
It's jokes.
Healing through humor, just jokes, kid.
Can't take anything Babyface says serious.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the healing through humor with parody disclaimer on the back.
Can we get that in the Dan Campbell voice? So we can cut that up and do it to when Brian, because
His Dan Campbell has drastically fallen off since the beginning of the season.
I
gotta
know.
say.
I know.
We've come. He put that in every
Well, because I got such
time on the
lukewarm
sports show.
responses that I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and retire this.
Yeah,
bit.
because
it's
we
not
were-
a good bit.
because-
Nobody's putting it over. It's not fucking good. It's annoying.
Right, because in the beginning you were just pumping it in. Brian and I literally could be talking about the Steelers, and you would pop in with Dan Campbell speech,
I was excited. I wanted to show you this new thing.
and then
I was
we
like a
started
kid
talking,
with a new toy.
yeah. Then we start talking about the Lions, and you forget to do the Dan Campbell voice.
Yeah, man. I know.
Jeez.
I'm the worst.
Well, I mean,
What can I
obviously, Brian got his way. So did Rhett. Got their way on the Super Bowl. 0-2. You guys
Whatever.
won. Eagles, Chiefs. Now,
I didn't pick the Chiefs.
Yeah, we
you
picked
did.
the Bengals. You picked the
You
Chiefs.
did, you big dork.
Went 1 and
did
1.
I?
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
went 1
I was-
and
I've been
1.
depressed.
I predicted a 3-point game, and I said that Mahomes. Well, this is the problem with doing a show and making your predictions on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
If
Especially because the line changes so much.
Yes.
well, it's not even the line. If I had known Mahomes was going to be essentially healthy on that ankle, I would probably switch over to Kansas
Yeah,
City.
it was right around Friday, Saturday. The reports started coming out that's like, hey,
The
you know,
practice
he's-
video came out of him just like running around like there was nothing.
like a
Yeah.
4 or
And
5
that run
40.
at the end of the game, I mean, that's not a guy with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
No, maybe
I
after.
think his injury was intentionally overstated.
Oh,
I can
yeah,
see
of
that.
course.
Yeah.
I mean-
I think that was gamesmanship.
It's just that's what you do in the postseason. You know what I mean? You try to keep that stuff as cloudy as you can. Like that's why the Bucks didn't activate Ryan Jensen until the day of the game. You know, they didn't want to give you any updates from practice. They didn't want Dallas to know that He was going to be out there snapping the ball, and obviously it didn't fucking matter. But that's just the mindset that I think teams are in as far as publicizing potential issues that their opponent can take advantage of.
Well, that didn't really help either. I was going to go into the Super Bowl, but then I stumbled upon this one. The Josh Seals guy out of the Eagles, indicted. Is he still on the team?
Probably is like a third string.
I don't know that name.
Oh, Seals engaged, and he's been, let's see, 1 count of rape, 1 count of kidnapping.
Yeah, he's not on the team.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Well,
I did save you from reading the rest of the
but
article.
do you see this? It says Eagles offensive line Josh Seals indicted on rape and kidnapping charges.
Does it say? Okay, so
so it just happened.
That's what I'm looking at.
Oh yeah, I
facing
thought. Yeah.
Latest news: Eagles offensive line Seals facing rape.
You know, if
kidnapping
there's
charges.
anyone who seems like they would rape and kidnap people, it would be an offensive lineman.
You know, word rat. That's just not cool.
Their job is to protect
Oh,
people.
is that the most overboard thing we've said here?
Yes, it is.
So
Especially
he's played 0 snaps this season.
Okay.
0.
He's only 25, so I figured he might have been still on the team.
He got drafted in 2022, so he's a
Rookie.
draft pick rookie. Actually, not drafted at all.
Undrafted free agent,
Undrafted free agent.
practice squad.
Yeah.
Hold on. They said Seals appeared in 1 game for the Eagles this season.
Yeah, he played 0 snaps.
So I don't think he's
So
going to
he
get
was
the Super
maybe
Bowl.
dressed.
on the active roster for 1 game. He did not play a single offensive snap, according to Pro Football Focus.
Oh, so he probably won't be getting a Super Bowl ring if the Eagles do win.
At this point, I don't think so.
That stinks. You know, he really trained them up. You know, kind of like Rudy did when he was with the Notre Dame. You know, those practice squad players are really important. I hope you guys know that.
They are.
Yeah,
I know you guys always shit on him.
They've been paying Ryan Griffin for the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is still on the practice squad, isn't he?
Sure is. He'll
That
probably
guy's
be there.
cleaning.
He'll probably be there next year
That
too.
guy's cleaning up. Brian, do you get does that count towards your NFL years?
I don't think so. I think they make like what, $80,000 a year,
Yeah.
or $120,000 a year, something like that.
Because I know like league minimum on a
It's based upon your years of experience. So he's probably making like $125,000 per year.
Well, because I remember when Freeman was here. God, I wish he was still here. The Arizona State quarterback that was the third stringer, he was making like $2-3 million a year because he had 5 years experience.
Oh, they went up big time.
Did it on practice squatters?
2 or fewer NFL seasons,
Rudy
207,000 over the course of the year. If you have more than 2 seasons, hold on. This is a lot of pop-ups. I don't trust that. If you're a veteran player on a practice squad, you make another change over the last 2 years is the eligibility requirements for veteran. Previously, teams could have up to 4 players who had 2 years of experience. Now teams can have 6 veterans with no limit on the amount of accrued time. Practice squad players make $207,000. Veteran players with over 2 years experience make $277,000 for 18 weeks, and a maximum of $358,200. So minimum of $277, maximum of $358. That's a sweet gig.
Yeah.
That's a sweet gig. If you're Ryan Griffin, you're like, keep it coming, man.
Yeah, he's been there. He's just kind of comfortable as the old
Mr.
veteran.
Mr. August.
Unless a team made me, I might not even sign with another team, because you lose that spot, you lose that gig. If they want to keep me around, keep me around. I'll be your emergency, in case of emergency, break glass quarterback.
Yeah, I'd be surprised that. Do you have to sign? I don't think you have to. Do you?
I don't know if you're like there, if it's that makes you like free. I don't think you have to sign anywhere. I mean, you would be kind of dumb not to take a shot, I guess, if you're getting one. But if you're Ryan Griffin and you're like, you know what, I'll spend the next 3 years on the Bucs practice squad, pocket $1 million, and not get hurt, not risk anything. It sounds like a sweet gig.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's not like he's a cornerback. He's an immobile quarterback, so it's not like he has to go out there and bust his ass training, right?
When you Google Ryan Griffin, he's not even the first Ryan Griffin that comes up.
No,
by
he's
the
not
way.
the football tight end for the
For
Bears.
the Bears, formerly of the Jets, and I think also played in Houston for a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, there he is right there. He's the 5th one down. He is 33. And Brian, you said so he's been there since 2015. Wow.
I think I'd be surprised if he's on.
And Brian, I don't know where you said that he's not a mobile quarterback. I mean, he did in his pre-draft measurables run a 5.2 40. I mean, I don't know why the Bucs are not talking about making him the starter after Tom
The
Brady.
starter, we don't need Lenny's replacement. We got him.
I mean, and
Because I think Lenny ran a 5.2 this year.
I mean, look at his college stats. I mean, 2012, 20 and 11 with 2,700 yards at Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you go wrong with that? He's 6'4", 218, probably about 250 right now.
Tulane.
Wow. And that's some good money right there.
I mean, it's a great use of a practice squad spot for the Bucs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be their go-to practice squad quarterback until, Kyle Trask is that guy.
No, they'll just cut Kyle Trask. That guy's not going to win. That would be the worst thing we could possibly do is put him on the practice squad. He's not helping the defense at all.
There's no point in cutting Kyle Trask. You can have him as your third-string quarterback if you're going to carry three. He doesn't cost you anything. I mean, he's pretty much a league minimum guy. So I don't know that you can bring anything else in unless you're talking about draft picks or something like that.
Taking like a late 6th, 7th round pick on somebody.
Maybe at that point you cut bait, but you never know, right?
That's true.
I mean, are the Bucs? I don't even want to hear Anthony Richardson tied to him because clearly they shouldn't be drafting any quarterbacks from the University of Florida.
No, not at all. I mean, when's the last good quarterback from Florida? I'll wait.
Yeah.
Unless you say Tim Tebow.
NFL quarterback?
Yeah. Has any NFL quarterback from Florida ever panned out there?
Danny Werfel?
Rex? No.
Did you Danny Werfel?
Yeah.
He didn't pan out in the NFL. Wasn't he like a 10-year backup for the Saints?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
where
he was a
10-year
Heisman
backup?
Huh?
When were you a 10-year backup?
I'm a 10-year backup for the Tampa Bay Bandits right now.
4th round of the 97 NFL draft. Played for the Saints for 3 seasons. Let's see. Played in the Rain, Fire, and NFL Europa, where he led them to a league championship and was named MVP of the World Bowl.
Okay.
MVP of the world, dude. MVP of the fucking world,
the fucking world MVP.
Rex Grossman, Florida Gators legend. He had a pretty not too shabby.
Spent a single season as a backup with the Packers and Bears. 2000 and in 2000, and Werfel was drafted by the Houston Texans in the expansion draft. So, okay, quarterback so good he got drafted twice.
That's true, Brian. That is very true.
And then got traded a week later to the Redskins. They wanted him so badly they traded for him. Reuniting him with Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, that's why they traded for him. Didn't Steve Spurrier bring every Florida quarterback in there?
He
Shane
had
Matthews.
Werfel and Shane Matthews at the time.
And
after an injury-riddled first 3 seasons, Rex Grossman led the Bears to a Super Bowl loss in 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, sexy Rex?
Yeah.
His career NFL stats, 12 touchdowns to 22 interceptions and a 56.4 passer rating.
Rex had a 56 touchdowns, 60 picks.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, Rex Grossman would probably be the most successful Florida quarterback.
The belle of the ball.
The belle of the ball.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Actually, if you want to get technical, you could always say Jacoby Brissett.
If you want to get philosophical. Cam Newton. Hey, Cam Newton.
Cam
Newton, Florida Gator quarterback.
Still on laptops.
MVP winner.
Yeah.
Still on
Super Bowl
laptops
loser.
in the back of a computer, back in a car.
Stealing laptops.
So Tim
Gators
Tebow went, let's see here. He had a 47.9% career completion percentage, but 17 touchdowns versus 9 picks and 12 rushing touchdowns.
In his entire career.
Yeah. His career spanned 16 starts in 35 games. And he
16 starts with those. Okay, never mind.
You know what every Tim Tebow fan will say?
16 starts with those numbers.
Do you guys know what the thing that the Tim Tebow fans always say about him playing quarterback? He won a playoff game.
I'll tell you what, only NFL quarterback that I would trust to circumcise me, Tim Tebow.
Oh Jesus! According to Bleacher Report, which I'm really starting to hate on this website after that AR thing, I picked in the top quarterbacks, top 10 Gator quarterbacks of the last 50 years.
Number 1.
Can you imagine who the number 1 is?
Well, it's Tim Tebow, fucking obviously.
Yeah, it's going to be Tebow.
But in the NFL, though.
That's not in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what
it
I
just
put.
says top 50. But read, what does the article say?
Oh, that's stupid.
I mean, the article's probably, they're covering their college career. His college career is almost unmatched.
Top 10 Gator quarterbacks the last 50 years.
Well, see how I see his NFL right here? See NFL?
But that's not the article you clicked on.
This is not you. This is just every quarterback that played, and now they got Florida State EJ Manuel in here and Vinny Testaverde, and What?
They're
Stafford.
Florida quarterbacks. Those are Florida quarterbacks.
Okay, are they really counting Matthew Stafford for a Florida quarterback?
He's from Tampa.
Yeah.
He was born in Tampa.
Oh, God. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Here we go. 4 best NFL quarterbacks to ever come out of Florida. Tim Tebow.
Is he on there?
Jacoby
Brissett. Tim Tebow,
Tebow.
number 3.
That's how bad their crop has been.
Damn, dude. They have 2 guys that transferred or you got
Jacoby
kicked out.
Brissett, future Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
And then number one's got to be Rex Grossman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rex Grossman. Yeah, wow. Sexy Rex. Wow.
It's pretty funny how they got. I mean, never mind. I guess it
What?
makes sense. It's
What?
funny how they got Cam 2, Rex 1, but the relevance to Florida kind of makes some sense.
Yeah, but I mean, Cam is definitely the number 1 quarterback in the NFL to ever play at the University of Florida. Now we don't have to say he's tied to the University of Florida or whatever, but he's definitely better than Rex Grossman in his career. Rex wasn't terrible, replacement level NFL style quarterback, but
Just playing the wrong systems.
I mean, if he was on the San Francisco 49ers this year, he would have been, when he was in his prime, he would have been a good quarterback for them.
Oh, is that true?
Would have had a Brock Purdy-like season.
I think so.
Him and Danny Werfel and Shane Matthews?
No, Rex Grossman.
I know, but you can just put all of them in there while you're at it.
I mean, when you look at, I don't know, that list is, you can't be taken seriously. If you're going to include Cam Newton, he's fucking better than Rex Grossman.
Not according to that article. All right.
I don't even know what to say
I
about
don't make
that.
the rules, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the article said, man.
Really, if you're looking
Jesus,
at career
Brian.
stats, Jacoby Brissett has an argument to be better than Rex Grossman.
Does he have an argument to be better than Tim Tebow?
Oh, they're all better than Tim Tebow.
Because Jacoby Brissett, what do you play, a year for
No,
Florida?
had Jacoby Brissett won a playoff game?
That's true.
Has
Tim
Jacoby
Tebow won a
playoff game?
That's
I know he's
true.
still going.
I mean,
That's
I
true.
think it's almost like FanDuel.com actually based off how many playoff games you won because Tim Tebow 3, Rex Grossman obviously got it to a Super Bowl, and then Cam Newton who sniffed the Florida Gator sideline.
Tim Tebow has 1 playoff win,
Yeah.
so I guess he's got Jacoby Brissett
Oh,
in that department.
There
It
you
actually
go.
is in his article right here. The Broncos snuck into the playoffs at 8-8 and were massive underdogs to the 12-4 Pittsburgh Steelers. But Tim Tebow led the Broncos to a stunning upset capped by a famous 80-yard walk-off touchdown pass.
To Demaryius
No,
Thomas.
it was an 8-yard touchdown pass that went for 80 yards. So it was like a 15-yard pass that went for 80.
No, it was a fucking rocket. You were there. You saw it.
Yeah.
It was the tightest spiral that you would ever
That was
see.
basically the greatest pass ever thrown by any NFL quarterback ever. I mean,
Just ask him. And ask any Tim Tebow. Did he really do circumcisions on a retreat?
Oh, yeah.
Did he?
Google it. Google Tim Tebow on a mission.
Oh, when he went to Africa and
He
was
went around
doing
snipping little kids' peepees.
him and his parents, right?
Yeah, it was about a 20. I think the ball traveled 20 yards in the air, and Pittsburgh had the worst defense ever on that play. I'm watching it. They bit so hard on a play action.
You mean because they didn't think
they sold out.
They brought their safety all the way up, sold out, and it was burnt toast. And then number 24 from Pittsburgh, horrible attempt at a tackle.
The
And
only one
safety
who
came
noticed-
all the way back from the line and almost caught Thomas.
I think the only one on the Steelers defense who noticed it was a fake was the middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Because he steps back, tries to make the play, and just obviously doesn't.
You mean because they actually
Hey,
didn't think Tim
also-
Tebow was going to throw the ball?
Great point in chat here, talking about the greatness that is Tim Tebow. Only Gators quarterback in history to ever hit a home run in Double-A.
That's true.
And drop a fly ball at the end of
Did you
spring
guys
training.
hear, though, the latest breaking news?
Only Gators quarterback to ever play tight end in the NFL.
Brady just signed with the Chicago White Sox. He did.
He's going back to the Montreal Expos where it all started.
He's-
A one-day contract to retire in Expo.
He's going to the Chicago White Sox, where his dream
See,
of being a baseball player will be fulfilled.
Oh, my God. He could be a baseball player. He's that good.
He was drafted to the Expos.
Was he?
Yeah, he was
I hate that
drafted
story.
in the MLB draft.
You know, my biggest problem with Tim Tebow is his hubris. The fact that he never considered transitioning to tight end in the NFL,
Until it was too late.
Until it was too late. Yeah, until it was, he got brought in by. Oh God.
What's wrong with Urban Meyer?
I
Even
just
in
threw up in my
hindsight,
mouth
just
a little
talking
bit.
about
Just
what a
even saying Urban.
What a fever dream that was.
Urban. Look what he did to fucking poor. I mean, imagine how much further along in his progression Trevor Lawrence would be as an NFL quarterback if he didn't have that 6 foot tall stack of feces that is Urban Meyer ruining his first year of his NFL career.
I mean, God, he really is just a piece. I mean, just like Sean Payton, he is just a piece of shit.
Time out. Say what you want about Sean Payton.
But he's a winner.
Urban Meyer's a way bigger piece of shit than Sean Payton.
Yes,
way
100%.
bigger. He's a fucking liar, a cheater, a scumbag. He's a charlatan, and he's a terrible human being. He's just awful. Awful.
Breaking news here a couple hours ago. Urban Meyer announces decision on coaching future.
No, I think the sports world announced their decision on Urban Meyer's coaching future.
Well, this says that Urban Meyer, on his coaching decision, he has no desire.
Yeah. He has desire, just not to coach.
He just has.
He has desire for blondes in his bar. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Urban Meyer, he's still married. Listen, that whole thing died. He closed down that restaurant. It's gone. It's done. It's done.
He had a fucking serial killer on his team and didn't care.
Wait, that guy. Oh, wait, what?
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, come on.
And that was like back in the Florida locker room.
He had murders under his belt while he was in college. This wasn't.
And he wasn't the only guy on that Florida team with a bad record.
Urban Meyer did not care.
I think there were like 38 arrests on that team.
I can't wait for the 30 for 30.
It's so funny that the whole Jameis Crab-like thing became the whole thing, but the fucking Florida Gators, that championship team, other than Tim Tebow, they didn't have any redeeming players on that team. Great human beings.
Listen, and Urban Meyer kept trying to put Tim Tebow with let's see, Riley Cooper. He put him as a roommate. Aaron Hernandez was a roommate with him for a little bit. I mean, Tim Tebow couldn't save him. I mean,
you know
Urban
what?
Meyer tried.
Hold on. Maybe Tim Tebow was the problem.
Maybe he was the catalyst.
You mean he drove him?
Maybe it's like that Dave Chappelle skit with Wayne Brady.
Oh yeah.
When they go out and all of a sudden Wayne Brady's buying coke and getting hookers and doing drive-bys.
No, he's the pimp. Yeah, he's the pimp of the hookers.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Tim Tebow is?
Yeah.
This is all
just saying.
They also say that like kids who are raised in religious households, extreme religious households, tend to be the most rebellious. Maybe that's just what was going on.
Maybe
they were sick of his shit.
Maybe Tim Tebow pinned all the murders on Aaron Hernandez.
Tired of him bringing his Bible study to.
I don't know.
Film
we could
day.
be onto something here. Tim Tebow might be a serial killer.
Oh, I'm just reading about Urban Meyer right now, and he said he's excited to see what happens with the Jags after being able to bring in some big moves in free agency, and he has a hand in the Jaguars.
Oh, he's going to take credit for their success. Oh, my God in heaven. Did he really say that?
Yeah. It was,
oh, my God.
If you click it's on
Could he be
Outkick.
any more? I
A.
mean, just a piece of fucking shit.
He really is like the definition of what a washed-up college football coach is.
Oh.
Like, if you were to stereotype, the type of past his prime, just washed up, college football, still macking on young bitches at the bar. Like, he's everything that I think of when it comes to that stereotype. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He seems like more like a JUCO or Division III type of football coach. In a small town.
Donkey Teeth in chat just said, Tebow couldn't hit anything. There's no way he could have shot somebody.
Hey, listen, he went 2 for 5, Donkey Teeth. That's not too bad. Come on.
2 of 5. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks go 2 of 5 and again. Hell, Trevor Lawrence against the fucking Chargers was 4 of 16 with 4 picks for 30 yards, and he turned that around.
See, it's true.
I'll tell you this right now. The Jaguars are probably playing in the conference championship game this year if Urban Meyer hadn't have fucked up that team so badly last year.
No.
Yes.
He added to the success, Brian.
Yeah.
No,
he's excited to watch the Jaguars.
You know what? He showed them how not to do everything.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
He was the wake-up call that they desperately needed.
Yeah.
To realize they had to get their shit together.
That's like all of the deadbeat absentee fathers that added to the success of famous porn stars. They added to the success of them.
Brian.
Yeah, without my influence, they wouldn't be where they are today.
I thought you were going to say like a lot of the players, maybe in the NFL, when they're 20, 21 and they show up on draft day.
Well, those guys too, but and quite honestly, it's the same idea, right? What are those kids trying to do? They're trying to get their dad's attention. They're trying to make up for something. That's why they're overachieving. Same thing with the girls on the pole. They're looking for that,
Brian, do you follow Tim Tebow on Twitter?
No. Why?
Why not?
What type of content is he putting out?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
We just talked about the content.
Is Urban Meyer on his Twitter?
Urban Meyer explains how an offense handles crowd noise.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Coach Urban Meyer talking bash, and its origins
all
at
Urban Meyer
Florida.
on Tebo's Twitter?
No, that's Urban Meyer, the topic.
Oh,
Lummy is scrolling through.
Sorry,
yes. It's just fucking 100% Urban Meyer stuff on Tim Tebow's Twitter.
he loves Urban Meyer so much.
That would be hilarious.
That would be perfect for him. And him and
Real quick, let's change the subject.
Sorry.
How about the Rays on their arbitration-eligible players, just locking them up to long-term deals? First of all, they're going to have 100, unless they trade Tyler Glass now this year, they're going to have $100 million payroll for the first time in team history next year because of the deals that they're giving out right now. They just locked up Yandy Diaz, Jason Adam, Pete Fairbanks. Let's not forget the deal they just gave to Eflin, the deal they gave to Glasnow, the deal that they gave to Franco.
Jeffrey
Springs. I said Adams. It was Springs. Yeah. Sorry. I had Jason Adam on my mind. He's still one of the guys that's arbitration eligible.
Yeah, he is.
They may still get another guy or
Ryan
two signed long term.
Colin Poche. Brian, now do you think it's because of the big rumors, which I disagree with and I hate? Even though they're not sold on St. Pete, but St. Pete's really pushing them to sit there.
No, I think it is. This is because they don't have room in their minor league system for any more talent. They are like capacity filled to the brim. So what they're doing is they're preparing for when the next wave of guys come up in the next 2 years. The only guy that's really MLB ready right now in their minor league system is Taj Bradley, who you can expect to see around September. And he's just an absolute stud down there in the minors. Killed it last year. He'll be great for the Rays. But
so they're pretty much keeping everyone down. Another year, they're going to have this. And
they're going to have these
trading.
Guys. They'll trade because these are all very. As long as these guys perform, they're very. They're good. They're good contracts. I mean, even the option years that they've given, that they'll trade away to other teams are great option years without big payouts. So I think they're waiting. They're 2 to 3 years from now, they'll trade all these guys and they'll get plenty of minor league capital back.
Well, so what happens technically? Let's say the Rays at the All-Star break playing under 500, sub 500 for whatever reason.
Right.
Do you see them starting to dump now and then bringing up the?
I think they could. I think they'll start moving some pieces. They would not fire sale because they don't have the parts and pieces to fire sale. If it made sense to them, if they were being offered way too much for something, they'll always be open to a deal. But I see, somebody like Glasnow, if the Rays are sucking but Glasnow is performing well, you could see him traded. Sure, because his contract next year is $25 million.
But like you said, I could see where at the end of this season, if definitely the guys are killing it in the minors and they're looking good at September, they brought it up. The fans, the casual fans, start seeing, hey, we got some guys. They're not going to be so upset if we trade this guy in the offseason. They're going to do what I call it, the Rays way, is they're going to trade maybe 3 or 4 guys in the offseason that have good contracts that they know they have the replacement players for, that they have locked up for 5-6 years.
The Rays way is to have one guy who's the face of the franchise. They had Longoria, then they had Kiermaier, and now they have Franco. And that's the Rays way. They're not going to overcommit to multiple players and give out ridiculous contracts that are going to be prohibitive to them and cripple the franchise in the future. I am fine with the way the Rays do baseball. First of all, the product on the field is one of the most entertaining to watch in terms of Major League Baseball. The way they play the game, they play it right. You know, they don't rely on a guy to go out there and crank 60 home runs and account for, 1 out of every 3 of the runs that they score in a season. And I don't want – that's boring baseball.
No, I love the way the Rays do it. I'm upset this whole freaking stadium thing and them just keep –
Don't get upset about it. It is what it is. It'll work itself out.
But
why
if they
are you
move,
upset about
because
it?
if they move –
Why, they're not going anywhere. Don't you realize that?
I don't know, man.
If they were going to move, they would have done it already.
But they're just looking.
They want that.
That Nashville team, they're getting hot.
All they're doing is trying to see what Major League Baseball doesn't. So Major League Baseball wants to expand. Okay, they don't want the Rays or Oakland taking up another viable market. Which is why, as the moment the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays stadium situations are sorted out, you will hear the announcement of 2 additional Major League Baseball teams. And that will happen in the next 2 seasons. So it may be Nashville and Charlotte. It may be Nashville and Las Vegas. But Major
I think
League,
it's going to be Nashville and Las Vegas.
Major League Baseball will have 2 more teams, but they're just waiting for the A's and the Rays to sort out their stadium.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand why. It frustrates me that Tampa can't get their shit together, and that they're even like contemplating. I'm not saying the Rays, but like the city of St. Pete thinks that once again that the Rays would work if we had a better stadium, and it just won't. And I wish Tampa would realize that stadium would work and bring in, a good amount of revenue.
I mean, the problem for the Rays, again, is, and people are so misconstrued about this, is the market is not big. When you draw a 50-mile circle around Tropicana Field, you're hitting all water.
Yeah, you're getting the grouper and the Dolphins.
And that's the thing, is like where they're located, they have one of the smallest population bases to pull from. Then you add in the fact that in that population base and in that circle, you have a shit fuck ton of retirees who live on fixed incomes. You have a shit ton of young professionals who don't necessarily have the disposable income yet to invest heavily into a team, and you have no real corporate presence in St. Petersburg.
Plus, you got three bridges you got to go over too, which they do say is a problem.
Yeah, I think it's less so, and certainly as the traffic plans for 275 expansion goes on into 2027, I think that'll be less of an issue with the Gandy connector and to the veterans and all of that. I think it's less of an issue now than it ever has been. I think it's just a matter of they still run into the problem of baseball fans around here were not born and raised Rays fans.
Well,
and so you don't have a loyalty to the team. You have them, you go walk around and tell me what you see more of on a daily basis. If you see more Yankees and Red Sox gear or Rays gear.
Well, that's just the area in general. I mean, that's not just baseball. It's not just football.
But it matters when you have 81 games to sell. And so you can get away with it a lot more in hockey and football when you only have to sell, hockey sells 81 games, but it's only 19,000 seats, and they're putting out an incredible product.
Yeah, I mean, if the Lightning sucked right now, it would go back to how it used to be.
With the Rays kind of making such a strong stance, or at least from the way that they make it seem, making a strong stance for St. Pete and keeping the Rays in St. Pete and continuing to build what's over there. Are they just trying to bank on the recent development of St. Pete? Because even the last 5-6 years, more people are moving up there.
No,
they're building out of downtown. Are they hoping that expands over to where the ballpark is?
St. Pete was their last option. That was always their fallback plan. And the fact of the matter is Tampa has not shown that they're going to come up with the money that the owners want to build there. They still have redevelopment rights to that area in St. Pete. And so they are going to essentially partner with the city on whatever project the city puts in there. So that St. Pete has always been there as their safety net, and they know that.
Brian, could you think that they're maybe rolling the dice too on let's make what's that analogy with the pretty girl where you're hyping up St. Pete, I'm gonna get Tampa jealous because Tampa and St. Pete have that little battle where Tampa is better than St. Pete's better than Tampa, yada yada yada. Do you see them saying like, well,
St. Pete's a way better city to live in than Tampa?
I know, but
there's no battle there. Tampa has more stuff to do overall, but to live in downtown St. Pete is way better.
No, but I'm saying like even the county commissioners, which is one reason why the St. Pete rushed to build the stadium back in the 80s to get a team. They wanted a major league team and Pinellas compared to Hillsborough. Maybe it's Hillsborough and Pinellas, but do you think that the Rays are kind of like just, okay, St. Pete's they built this thing, they keep putting it out there where they're trying to see if, because I know Ken Hagan really wants to get the Rays built over here in Tampa, over in that Ybor area.
Here's the thing. If the Rays can maintain ownership interest or financial interest in the rebuild in St. Petersburg, they don't care if the fans come to the game or not. Because the value of the franchise would be in the real estate, right? So if they have an ownership interest in that redevelopment and they're, gifted a new stadium and all of that, they only have $250 million into this team. So, and it's been profitable. They don't need to sell a single ticket to make money.
Yeah, the TV deals now.
The streaming deals, the TV deals, the local TV deals, they don't need one person to attend the game, and they're fine. And so St. Pete has always been their backup plan. It has nothing to do with liking St. Pete better. They would rather be in Tampa. That absolutely, no doubt about it, they would rather be in Tampa. But they will only be in Tampa. It's a dollars and cents game to them. They only want to come to Tampa if essentially 3/4 of the stadium is being paid for them. And in St. Pete, because they retain the redevelopment rights with the Rays, so long as they don't breach the contract that they have with them, then that makes it financially attractive for them to stay and remain in St. Petersburg.
Isn't that, when that contract comes up, what, 2027?
2027, the contract is over.
But, I mean, realistically, even if they waited and started building a stadium in Tampa in 2027, 2028, they still can redevelop that land and make money off it, correct? Or does it have to be with a stadium on it?
I think their redevelopment rights are tied to them honoring their full contract and not, there's certain breaches that they can do, but I think they may be coming near the end of that point. But the problem for them becomes a timing issue, right? Because at some point you're not going to have a stadium to play in. And the time that it takes to build a new state-of-the-art stadium with all this infrastructure around it will be over a year. And, you're talking 18 months total construction time. And so, 2027 seems like a long way away, but it's not.
Yeah, they even got a plan for it yet.
Yeah, they've got nothing in place. I mean, so, the clock is ticking. And what do they do by doing this? By having that press conference and getting the mayor to agree. Now that puts pressure on Tampa. Okay, Tampa, if you really want us now, so it's all about leverage with them. The Rays owners are shrewd, businessmen, and they're going to do whatever is in their best interest. The community be damned. They've shown that they're the least community-friendly team in all of the Tampa Bay area.
Would you like to see Sternberg trade or sell the team?
I would love for him to sell the team. I would love for a group maybe backed by Vinnick or with Vinnick involved or somebody with ties to the area with roots now, because Vinnick does have roots now. He's involved with USF. I would love to see somebody more into the community and into Tampa Bay as a metro area own that team, and it would be better for everybody.
Of course, it would be. Brad, do you like going to Rays games?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, sometimes you got to overpay for tickets, which kind of sucks because making that drive all the way to St. Pete is what stops a lot of people, including myself.
Wait, what tickets are you overpaying for?
Overpay for tickets? What the fuck are you talking about?
When
are you saying more than $1 is not worth it?
Yeah, I mean,
you can get $5 seats to those games, man.
Yeah,
not when Boston comes to town. Not when
you still buy the cheap tickets and go. That's what you do, right, Brian?
I mean, I don't think I've ever paid more than $40 to see a Rays game.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing?
Other than the World Series and
yeah, it's different. The playoffs and the World Series. I mean, you can literally get into an outfield ticket for about $10.
Yeah, I don't mind going to the Rays.
Maybe that.
I don't go to a lot of them because that drive is what stops me. But.
Well, maybe that is the overpaid is $10 for you to watch the Rays play against, the Minnesota Twins or the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited about spring training though?
No.
Really?
Why would I be excited?
You
about
don't like spring training baseball?
No.
Oh,
it's fucking boring. I like going out, on a nice day in the middle of the day, and it's taking a couple hours off of work to enjoy the sun and fresh air and nice weather.
Because I was going to say, we should probably go. We should go to a game, but you know what? Never mind, Brian. It would just be me and Red.
I don't enjoy the product on the field. I don't enjoy the game is fucking boring. They're almost unwatchable. You understand that, right?
No, it's unbelievable. You start watching all the prospects.
Oh yeah,
everything they're going through.
Unbelievable is
in
the adjective.
Sun, you hear the crack of the bat. You're drinking a beer, having some Cracker Jacks.
It's more
hot dogs.
It's more the ambiance than it is the product on the field. But
that's what baseball games are for me, to be honest with you. I enjoy watching baseball, but I don't watch it on TV unless it's the World Series. If I go to a game, it's mostly for that ballpark atmosphere. It's hard to beat.
It is hard to beat.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to keep going. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's it.
You started.
That's all I had to say was that I go for the atmosphere.
He was riffing.
Yeah,
I was kind of
freestyling.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. Thank you, Xavier. I was just trying to spend quality time with you, going to a game, us as a show, going out, doing a game.
Time out.
And you said,
all right, we'll have another
fuck
Bubba
you
Army
in your
night.
baseball
we'll
game.
But
real quick on that. I didn't
Yeah,
say, I made a very clear distinction there. I said that I enjoy going out and enjoying the fresh air and a little time away from work in the middle of the day, having a beer and relaxing, and there being a baseball game on in the background that you can occasionally look up at and see, because that, the first inning when the 5 starters for the team are in.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in, it's not the same as seeing a prospect in like a football game or basketball game. It's just not the same in watching them in the preseason in baseball. It's just not the same. But I do enjoy the ambiance and the experience of spring training in the sense of not the product on the field. I would never go because I'm excited to go watch the game.
So you're saying if we like when Tim Tebow was with the Mets, you weren't gonna try to go go watch him play?
No, fuck no. What the fuck? Why would I care? A non-baseball player playing baseball, that's what I want to go see. When Billy Crystal took an at-bat in preseason, you think I was clamoring to go see Billy Crystal?
Tom Selleck did too.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you really
I'm a serious
tried,
human being, Lummy.
Kevin Costner
I'm not
going
some
out there.
caricature sports fan wearing jerseys and fucking painting my face.
Now, would you wear that shirt or any of your other shirts from the past couple of shows
Ryan,
to the
spring
game?
training super
Absolutely.
fan.
I would wear my short sleeves because it's too warm come March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th for long sleeves. But yes.
So if we got show jerseys, you wouldn't wear when we go to the game?
You all had to pay for those jerseys. I'm not paying for a jersey.
What? No, the show jerseys that we'd get donated to us.
Nobody donated you guys anything.
What do you mean?
You guys all paid for that.
What jerseys?
The Tampa Tarpons.
No, we didn't pay for it.
Oh, I was told you guys paid for it.
We just didn't want you to have one.
There you go.
No, I'm saying like if we go to a spring training game as a show, us three,
Who's donating me this jersey?
Well, Nick the Gun Guy's already bought you one jersey.
And
so.
my daughter puked on it.
I know. He's got to make you another one. So if he makes you another one, would you wear it to the game with us? We'll all wear a jersey together.
That'd be
whatever.
awesome, dude.
Yours will be like Brian, with your number 3.
69 or 420.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it'd be 69 on the back, baby face. Baby face has the name. So
no, I would never wear that. I mean, I would wear it if somebody gave me one and said, "Would you please wear it to the game for the show?" I would do it because I'm not a total dick. But I would never willingly wear a jersey to any sporting event because I'm not a total dick.
How long was that jersey in your car for?
I kept
on it.
So real quick, I kept it in the car because I put it on before every sports show. So I was wearing it consistently in the studio. So I left it in my car because I wore it to an hour and a half a week and over my clothes so that I would never forget it and have it handy. And then it just happened to be the only thing handy when my daughter projectile vomited it on her way to a cruise.
I thought it was on the way home.
No, it was on the way to the cruise.
Oh, so you could have picked it up on the way back.
No, I couldn't because it was on the opposite. Like it was an expressway, and I'm not going that way. I'm not going to cross 4 roads of traffic for a vomited jersey.
How many times have you been on that road?
Since?
Yeah.
Twice. The jersey's not there. I peeked.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for being able to come in early today. It's always a pleasure with you, Brian.
It's always a pleasure.
Have fun going back to lawyerism. And Rhett, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for letting me riff for another week in a row.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for coming in and riffing.
Thanks, Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Maybe you can improve your thing for next year.
Maybe, man.
No, I gotta work on it.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget, we're live tomorrow, twitch.tv/The Bubba Army, 6 a.m. And for all your Bubba Army merchandise, go to Bubba Army Shop, BubbaArmyStore.com. We'll see you next week for our Super Bowl picks. Thank you. Goodbye.